What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro Dude, and we are back in the full fucking swing of things. Very excited to get this NBA season off the ground. We are streaming on both Playback and YouTube right now, so if you want to watch the games with us this week, we'll be streaming on there on Tuesday and Wednesday as well on the You Know Ball YouTube and the You Know Ball Playback page. You can actually watch the game with us on, especially for the League Pass night on Wednesday, and then on YouTube you'll just be able to see the video. But it's a fun little thing to continue to grow the platform here as we kick off yet another NBA season. And then just another last house cleaning thing before we get into the contract extensions. We have like 10 tickets left for the live show in Philly. Hashtag prove Sam wrong. Sam said we couldn't sell it out. We're very close to selling it out. We have about 10 to 12 tickets left for that show. And then also come to New Orleans with us for Mardi Gras, which is going to be so fun. My sister said she's going to be there. We got a lot of family members. Sam's dad might come. We got a lot of shit going on
coming.
there.
No, he's locked in.
Oh, he's locked in?
He's asking me about dates. He's saying
King.
he wants to bring my stepmom.
King.
I'm like, all right, well, you guys can go to the French Quarter. We will be chilling in the Irish Channel, but like, good luck with that.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm so excited. So let's get into the contracts here because I wanted to start with the Christian Braun one up top because that one was the one that seemingly got the most pushback, I would say. It feels like
it was definitely the most divisive.
Divisive is probably a better way to put it. Christian Braun, who has been, a fifth starter for the Nuggets the last year or two, just is coming off a career year where he put up a very efficient 15 points. Obviously he was a late first round pick, so he doesn't have quite the prestige of some of these other guys that we'll talk about today that were lottery picks. And he's also, he was a little bit older when he came into the NBA. I believe he's like 24, 25 now. So it's not like someone who has a ton more potential, but he was clearly a very good NBA player and got 5 years, $125 million from the Denver Nuggets. We don't know anything about the option yet, but I'm assuming that's fully guaranteed. We haven't really seen a lot of player options on these deals or even team options recently. And once again, I feel like the pendulum keeps swinging where we go from like last year. I remember being like, most of these deals are fine. The only one I hated was Jalen Green's. That was literally the only one that I was like, you cannot pay Jalen Green $30 million a year and be a good team. Well, I was wrong. They got away with that because they were a good team last year. He didn't necessarily help all that much.
I was going to say, you were wrong, but for the right reasons.
I was going to say, I was right about Jalen Green not being worth over $30 million per year. Yeah. I was wrong about the fact that they could be good in spite of it. And then on top of that, they also were able to move the contract fairly easily in a way that I was like, I just don't see a team that's out there that would be willing to take this on. And I forgot about the Ishbia factor, which is there's always one sucker, which is kind of what you were saying that whole time. You were like, I think we literally brought up Kevin Durant as one of the people, because remember, those rumors with the Rockets went back about a year at that point. Yeah. So that was really the only one that I was like, I don't get this at all from a team perspective. Most of the other ones were fine, fair value. Some we thought were scams, like Jalen Johnson was one that we thought could really return some value from the 2021 class. And then there were a few other guys that ended up hitting restricted free agency and getting paid this offseason. This year with this 2022 class, first off, I think this class is significantly worse than the 2021 class, to be clear. Like, the 2021 class is sneakily one of the best drafts that we've had in recent memory. I mean, there are so many stars, so many high-level role players. Really, like, it's one of those drafts where when you look back at it and you miss on a pick, like Davion Mitchell, for example. Like, the Davion Mitchell pick just is so brutal for the Kings and changed the trajectory of their team so much, because they could have hit on so many potential guys in that range, whether it was Şengün or Trey Murphy or any of those guys, Jalen Johnson, that could have potentially changed the trajectory of their team. The 2022 draft feels more like the three guys who got maxes, who we're not really going to talk about today, Paulo, Chet, and J-Dub, all worthy of maxes, all clearly that level of player. I'll let Sam have a second here to say Chet's not worth it.
Chet's not worth it.
All right, and then we'll move on.
We'll move on.
But in all seriousness, like obviously the top 3 guys are really good, but the rest of these guys are more kind of, they're lineup completers. Like they just make lineups work. Like they're like 3rd, 4th, 5th starters in most lineups. They're not like super high level guys. And Braun is an interesting test case here. And the reason why I wanted to talk about him first was mainly due to the fact that this to me signals that like this is the last 2 years of the window for them. Like in terms of they're spending so much fucking money on this team in the next 2 years that I think that it could be, kind of winding down the clock on this potential contention window. And I don't think that really has anything to do with the Christian Braun deal, to be clear. Like, I think they kind of had to pay him, or at least had to give him a reasonable amount of money. This might be a little bit rich for him, but like 25 million on this cap per year is going to be what? 13-14% of the cap. Like it's not that much. It's not as much as it seems like when you just read the number.
Yeah, I mean, like we do this every year. Like I feel like in general, like a good rule of thumb for a guy getting like a big 4 or 5 year $1 million contract, if your instinct is that's a little high, it's probably like a fine deal. like every time I've ever said that, it's like a totally fine deal. And again, like just the fact that the cap keeps going up and up, like it does kind of like trick what's going on with some of these cap numbers. Now, I do think we are kind of getting into a zone with the NBA and like the world writ large where like maybe just betting on it going up and up and up is not the bet that it once was. So like, maybe
Christian Braun is Dogecoin.
Yeah, there might be like a little bit of a Dogecoin factor here, but like, I think just like plop, my big thing with Christian Braun is he's an athletic wing who's like totally fine on offense. Will, some of the other people were pointing it out in the chat today, like, a lot of these guys are Jokic merchants. Like Christian Braun's like on-offs with Jokic are actually like, I think, get a little better with Jokic off the court. Like there's other things to be done with that. Like,
his stats are relatively the same. A lot of the times whenever a guy's good on the Nuggets, it's just, oh, he's a Jokic merchant. And it's like, yeah, playing off the best player in the world makes you look better. That's always been the case, whether it's LeBron, we know why I say above Christian Braun.
Christian Braun, yeah, it's because he's an athletic wing, which I always like. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I will not be reading any more into that slander.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with his surname, which he shares with a historical figure.
Which one?
He is
History Grimes, as I call her.
He is.
Anyway. Ava, stop writing archangels.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
He is unbelievable.
Yep.
I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh, we were talking about Christian Braun. Stop listening to chat. Like, we're trying to do a podcast here. It's never gonna work. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically the Christian Braun deal, once again, it seems like a lot, but when you zoom out, it's actually not that much relative to the cap, which is something that we'll say over and over. And like I said, when people see that someone's on the Nuggets, we just go, well, they're good because they have Jokic. He plays with Jokic. That's Jokic merchant, blah, blah, blah. Well, all of these guys are going to be playing with Jokic. So like he's still on their team to my knowledge, at least for the next 2 years. And to me, this basically, like I said, this signals that they are willing to push in the chips for now. They're willing to go into the tax because they're going to be close to second apron, like literally next year. Not this
that was going to be the point I was going to make, because they are now like a expensive team under the stewardship of an owner who is historically extremely, extremely cheap.
Yeah.
So like they are, without this extension, I think there were $192 or $96 $196 million next year. That's going to be like 200, like $12 million.
Bobby Marks posted it already. They have 193 million guaranteed already. And there are a bunch of guys that they will just be picking up their options. Like Daron Holmes is not candidate that. They could get rid of Jonas Valanciunas, who makes 10 million, which will help. There are some other guys, like if Jalen Pickett has a nice year, he has 2.4 million on the books. Julian Strawther has 4.8. So like the long and short of this is that if they go down that route, they will be very close to the second apron and have virtually no flexibility. And by the way, I don't know if you noticed this, because I thought about it, like someone commented this and I had the same thought, which was that moving off of Michael Porter Jr. and turning him into Cam Johnson basically makes it so that you can make a deal like this with Christian Braun, right? Where, you know, he makes 10 to 15 million less per year. It's about 15 million less per year. Next year, I think it's like 18 million less per year. So you could take that money, you could put it towards another good player. And we both think Christian Braun is a good player. And a playoff level player, which to me is the most important thing for a team like Denver that's clearly in the middle of their contention window.
A playoff wing, by the way, like that's like the hardest thing in the world. That's why I don't really mind this. I mean, I understand that Christian Braun is not somebody who's like a star player. He's not like a meaningful, like, you know, I don't know. He's not even like a Derek White level player. You know, I don't think he has much of a shot of ever making like an all-star game or anything like that in his career, but he's a wing, and wings are just really fucking hard to find, and especially playoff level wings, and a guy you've seen as a playoff level wing. Like I've never watched Christian Braun in the playoffs and thought like he doesn't belong out there, or he's killing them or anything like that. If anything, I felt the opposite. I felt like he gave them a little bit of juice in transition, and like, which they kind of need. Like,
yeah, the only thing with him is I wish that he shot a little bit more threes, and maybe that's something that they'll have to work into his game. Maybe that's part of the reason why they were so set on getting a guy like Cam Johnson, who put up a ton of volume and threes. Aaron Gordon obviously had a nice 3-point shooting year. Jokic started to shoot more threes. But the thing with Christian Braun is, like, I thought he played decent defense on Ant 2 years ago in the playoffs, better than KCP certainly. And then they let KCP walk because of money reasons, which was another reason why, like, they probably had to pay this money for Christian Braun. Because the way I put it was like, you basically look at this team and you go, our mistakes are not these kind of moves. They're not the Christian Braun for 25 million. Our mistakes was giving Zeke Naji $8 million per year, which, by the way, I don't know if you know this, has 3 years left on it.
That's crazy, dude.
Which is absolutely fucking insane. And he's basically not an NBA player.
I mean, the $8 million doesn't hurt you like that bad, but like when you're a second taxpayer team, that shit adds up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he sucks. He's ass.
It gives you
He's
no
never gonna
room
play.
to do anything. That's the problem, is that you're just burning $8 million every single year for the next 3 years. And then the other thing is Jamal Murray. Like, Jamal Murray, who's a very good player, second best player on a championship team a few years ago, hasn't quite lived up to the massive contract he got, you know, despite having never made an all-star team and, you know, not having the accolades that the other kind of guys get when they get not just that first max contract, but he got a second max contract. So that's a massive deal that he has. And that's why I look at this deal and I just go, they just paid Aaron Gordon. They have that Zeke Naji dead thing on the books. Jokic is making the super max. Murray's on a max. Cam Johnson doesn't make nothing. He makes over 20 million per year. And if you're looking at it like that, you have to basically say, this team is going for it right now. And I think that they're at a point where the next 2 years is like their clear window. And then they have to make some decisions, whether I'm assuming that Jokic is going to extend for more money next offseason. I'm also assuming that they try to keep this core together as much as possible, but like, you're not trading Jamal Murray on that contract. He cannot be traded on that contract, basically. You know, Aaron Gordon is someone that you just extended. Cam Johnson's going to have to get extended soon. He only has 2 years left on his deal. It's not like Cam Johnson is locked in for 4 years and you know exactly how much he's going to make too. What if he comes and plays with Jokic and has a similar kind of, you know, upside that a lot of guys have when they play with Jokic? They just kind of get a boost, like Bruce Brown, KCP, Christian Braun. Like, so the question to me is, like, is this the next 2 years, just the once again, 2, maybe 3 years if they decide they really want to go far into the tax? Or is this it basically for them? Because I know that Jokic is, entering his 30s, and you have this prime opportunity now to kind of work this championship window and stretch it out as long as you possibly can. And I just feel like the Christian Braun deal, like the fact that they were willing to pay him this much kind of signals to me that like we might be seeing sort of it like winding down at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're just trying to get this last this last squeeze at the juice, And I mean, like, this is, I don't think the Nuggets did like a ton wrong. I mean, yeah, like they shouldn't have. The Murray contract's tough, right? Like, and the Najee contract is tough, but like outside of that, they've done like
everything they've done. I'm like,
yeah.
what? The only thing that I just go, what are you supposed to do?
Right.
You're not going to pay Jamal Murray a year after he was the second best player on your championship team.
Yeah, you just kind of like have to do that, and I think that this is what this. I mean, that is what this CBA is designed to do. It's designed to break up good teams so more teams have a chance to be good. I mean, that is really like what the CBA is all about.
They would have had to do this under last CBA too, though. I don't really think that has anything to do with it. The amount of money that this team is spending is just absurd.
I'm saying going back to the repeater, the institution of the repeater, what it was to break up teams like this, like that, which is, again, you're right, starting 2 years ago. So this is, you're not really like, supposed to do, it's supposed to break up your teams and do this. I think, paying the Christian Braun thing, I mean, we'll see. I think Cam Johnson has one more year after this year. I doubt he gets extended. They probably like let him walk, or if they don't, they've got to find a home for Jamal Murray, because I don't think that they're going to wind this past that window. I think Christian Braun kind of subs in for Cam Johnson like 2 years from now, and I think they just kind of like let him walk is how this is going to go.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that is it's something they're going to have to address, a year from now, basically, or 2 years from now, at when all of these contracts start to wind down a little bit. But the other thing that people have brought up, like, I think this is fine money for Christian Braun when you consider the context and how important of a role he plays for a team that's in the middle of their title contention window. Like, keeping this guy happy and making it so that, like, look, maybe he's making a little bit more than he would have if he played for the Houston Rockets or the New Orleans Pelicans or whatever. Maybe he's an $18 million a year player on any of these other teams, right? Well, luckily he happens to play on this team with a player like of Jokic's stature. And you want to, like, Jokic, it's not guaranteed Jokic extends. It's very likely, but like, you want to keep around guys as much as you possibly can that Jokic likes, that knows how to play with Jokic, that Jokic likes to play with. We just saw them bring back Bruce Brown, who's another guy that kind of is in the same mold as that. And I just look at this and I go, like, I totally understand why you would continue to, pay. Like, he's coming off of a year that he might not reach those levels. We talked about this. Mateo brought up a great point earlier, which is that basically last year, in order to make Russell Westbrook work on this team, the whole team got out and transitioned more. Like, they ran a lot more, because if you have Russell Westbrook on your team, you just have to run in the open court way more often in order to make him a viable player and, have him have more use. He's not the best half court player in the world. So because of that, it inflated a lot of their offensive stats. And Braun was the number one transition player in basketball last year in terms of scoring and scoring efficiency. Like, he was off the fucking charts last year. He averaged 15.4 points per game on 66.5 true shooting, which, by the way, someone posted that was the best true shooting from a guard since the Steph year that scored over 15 points a game. Now, obviously, that is stretching it, because Steph was averaging 30 points a game on insane efficiency as the number one option. But it shows you how effective he can be in his role as a guy in transition, as a guy that is just going to make the right play in the half court. And he was so he was fourth best in the league in transition points, first in transition points per possession, and he shot 39.7% from three. He should really up that volume from three. That's like the one thing I think that really could take his game to the next level in terms of being like a really good, effective role player. But once again, he's a fourth or fifth guy in a lineup and he makes it work. And you're going for it right now. I think it's completely fine. It's good for him to get the money, and I think it's completely fine for the Nuggets. I was surprised that everyone flamed this deal. Like, it was like, I feel like it was either like you weren't paying attention last year, or you think that last year was a complete outlier and that he won't continue to be as good as he was last year.
And maybe that is true. Like the Russ stuff you were just talking about, like, you know, Russ isn't on the team anymore. Maybe they slow it down. Maybe transition is not as big of a part of that. And, you know, everything you just described, him coming back down to earth, maybe that does happen.
But Mateo also pointed out, like, their defense will probably be better if that happens too.
Yes.
Because if you don't run, you have more energy, and then you're just more locked in on defense.
And then having a big, strong point of attack defender who's proven like he is a really good thing to have if you can set your defense and you're not in transition all the time. So, like, I don't know. It's hard for me to see a lot of, maybe this will be a disaster, but I really don't see it. I feel like this is a pretty good deal. And I don't feel like Christian Braun got like swindled that much either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this is like a pretty good middle ground for everybody.
So I guess I guess the way that people could say, oh, this is a bad deal, is because you're never going to be able to trade a deal like this, right? But you're only trading a deal like this if you're losing Jokic, right? And if you're losing Jokic, then your title window's over. So who gives a shit? Like, that's kind of how I look at it, where it's, I look at it like, no, he's not Alex Caruso. He's not that level.
I was just amused by the idea of Braun as white Caruso. It was very funny to me. I like that.
But once again, the thing that I just look at with this team is they kind of have to go for these kind of moves right now. And if you are getting to a point where you're trying to like I said, if you're trying to trade Christian Braun, what does that mean about where they're at as a team? Because to me, like, they're probably trading Christian Braun if it's over. And like, so do you really care about like maximizing the value in a Christian Braun trade if Jokic has left the team, or if he's retired, or if like, you don't like, that's nothing. It's over. So what do you even care at that point?
No, we can't be a 37-win team because we don't have Christian Braun anymore.
We can't get a first round pick for this contract. Okay. Who cares? Like, Jokic is the only thing that really matters here. And as long as you have him, he's going to make Christian Braun a very viable player.
I also think you could. Like, the fucking Knicks got our OG Anunoby for RJ Barrett.
That's always different to me.
I mean, it is, but like, people will bet on these wings even if they clearly suck.
Well, that's a good transition to, if you want to talk about Jabari Smith. No, I'm serious. Like, and it's not that Jabari Smith is a bad player. It's that if you were the third pick in the draft and you are vaguely a wing or forward, you will always have a market. Like, this is what we've learned. Literally, even if you're really a guard, like Jalen Green, we just saw it last year. Like, I'm not, it doesn't matter what my opinion is on a player necessarily. It has more to do with the fact that, like, teams will always take swings on these guys. They just always will. So yeah,
the Grizzlies, late breaking slop, that Ty Jerome out for 4 weeks for that high grade cash trade. The Grizzlies are the fucking.
It was Scottie Pippen was he got hurt. Ty Jerome got hurt in the last preseason game.
No, I know, like, he hasn't been playing. I was like watching those games, but I didn't realize he was going to miss like 4 weeks. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, he is him and Scottie Pippen's out for 12 weeks, dude.
Javon Small, it is your time to shine, brother. Let's go.
He will be there. He's on a two-way, and he'll probably be a starting point guard on opening night. Yeah, almost has to be, right?
Yeah, let's go.
They already have Scottie Pippen's already out. Ja's already out. Ty Jerome's out.
Who else even handles the ball? That's like, is that Gigi Jackson?
Ja's gonna play. There you go.
Oh, Ja's playing. Okay.
Well, at least Ja's back
for
now.
Traditionally not a very
until he steps onto the court and his entire body just goes into the court somehow. It's like that Drew Smith injury from a few years ago
where
he fell into a molten pit of lava on the sideline. Honestly, the Grizzlies, I did bring this up. When did they start building AI data centers in Memphis again?
What, 2 years ago, a year ago? Like, yeah.
Ever since, their entire team's been falling apart.
We have to shut them down.
Also, I don't want to encourage chat right now because I'm being reminded why we don't have chat on when we were, because Sam can't pay attention and I can't finish a point because everyone is just distracting us in chat. But I do have to give a shout out to the one chat that said the Nuggets are now, after this Braun extension, the Nuggets are now the Christmas Adventurers. That did make me laugh. Christian Adventurers.
The Christian Adventurers. Let's go.
That was a good one. Okay, so let's talk about the Portland extensions next.
Okay.
Because I once again, I think the Braun one's fine. I'm not really too worried in either direction. I think it's fine for both sides.
I agree.
Okay, so this is really Shaedon Sharpe getting extended because Tumani was not in this draft. Tumani was in the 2023 draft. We will talk about that contract, but
I was going to say, I want to talk about that contract.
We'll talk about the Tumani Kamara. Well, let's just talk about Tumani first then, because that was the one that had the opposite reaction to the Christian Braun contract, which was, oh my God, this is such a scam deal. How did they get away with this? And my response to that would be, he's never made money in his entire life. He was on a second round pick rookie contract and was offered $20 million per year. I mean,
it's the Herb Jones thing.
82 million. This is the way that you truly scam guys now. Is the only way that you could basically scam anyone as a team is if you hit on a pick in the second round. And they are looking like the way that the CBA is set up right now is basically if you hit on one of these guys, they're going to want to try to get out of that rookie contract as soon as possible. And they're going to want to get real money. And Tumani is 2 years removed. Austin Reeves, we just saw it with him a few years ago. Herb Jones is someone else that you've brought up. We've been seeing this over and over again. And so Tumani ended up getting 82 for 4 years. I believe there is no player option on that, if I remember correctly. So that's just 82 million for 4 years, which, look, that's a really good value for a player of Tumani Kamara's stature. I mean, he's a very clearly, I think, like we just talked about Braun, who's probably more of a fifth guy in a lineup. Tumani is very clearly like a fourth guy in a lineup that has real defensive chops, a good defensive wing, super athletic. He's only 25, so it's not like most of these wings continue to get better into their late 20s. It's not like he's a completely finished product at this point, right?
Yep.
So Tumani is someone who is a very clearly a good value on this deal, but it's only due to the fact that he was a second round pick.
Shout out to Brian, by the way, with the power chat. As one commenter in Hoop Collective pointed out earlier, the Grizzlies MASH report is welcome to Tennessee healthcare.
Wait, what do you mean? What is a MASH report?
The just MASH report being like the Army like MASH unit, like the injured reserve. So he's just saying they're a MASH unit, and it's the Tennessee healthcare thing. Yeah. No, but Tumani. So the other thing, I mean, again, preseason fake, all the qualifiers, whatever. The game I watched with Tumani Kamara the other day, he had like 5 threes. Obviously he's not like going to do that like anymore, but if like he can turn himself into like a, if he all of a sudden like one season is like a 38% 3-point shooter, like he's like,
I think he shot close to that last year.
Oh, was he that good?
I'm pretty
I thought he was
sure
like a 36% 3-point shooter.
37.5.
Wow. All right, never mind.
I was like, I'm fairly certain that's what he shot.
He's just awesome then. Like, man, I understand he doesn't have like the off the bounce juice, the creation, all the other stuff, but like, I'm sorry, that is just like exactly the type of player you need on like a championship team. That player will always be valuable. A guy who's like an all defense caliber defender, switchy, big, athletic, can shoot threes. Yes, he might not be able to attack closeouts like awesome. I don't fucking care, man.
No. He's fine at that. He's just weirdly, he's one of those, there's this weird archetype of guy that's like super athletic that is not a particularly great finisher. And that's the thing that I've always found to be weird with Tumani is that like, I've watched some games where it just feels like he always misses layups. And I remember looking into this, and he weirdly shot like a pretty bad percentage. Maybe that he had some sort of injury last year or something that dealt with that. But once again, good rebounder, can shoot, can handle the ball a little bit. Like, I don't think he's a nothing with the ball. Like, I think he can extend advantages. You're not going to ask him how to create out of thin air, but like, he has the ability to do a little bit with the ball. Like, to me, this is the kind of wing that everyone's looking for. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
To me, this is like the OG Anunoby style wing that every single team wants for the playoffs. So when Portland's good, assuming that they're much better a year or two from now, we both had them as like play-in fringe playoff teams this year. Assuming that they're good in a year or two from now, he's going to help them a ton in a big playoff series. He's just good. He's just a good player that, once again, is probably, going to be your third or fourth best player in a lot of lineups, just makes a lot of shit work. He's a really good glue guy. And I think that it's a fantastic deal for Portland. I understand why Tumani did it. Like, if you've never gotten a real payday in your career and a team's offering $20 something million per year, his max he could have made on this was 4 years, $87 million. So they actually got it below that, which is kind of crazy, to be honest. I would have expected them to kind of pound the table and get as much as they possibly could here. But yeah, no, insanely good deal for Portland. I've talked about this before with Portland, where all of their contracts are either scam deals. They're either scam deals or like the worst contracts in the NBA. It's Grant so weird. It was DeAndre Ayton. Now it's Jeremy Grant and Drew Holiday, which, look, maybe they get good value out of it the first year. I don't know how it's going to look in a year or two from now. And then they have like he who shall not be named. They have Tumani Kamara. And then they just have like Donovan Clingan on a rookie deal. Like, obviously Sharpe's the other guy that we need to talk about here, who was the true draft class extension from the 2022 draft class. He got 4 years, $90 million on his deal, which ended up coming in a little bit higher than I expected. I think his camp wanted 100, and I think that the Blazers wanted to give 480, and they met halfway at 490. I saw this deal get a lot of. I think this was another one that people were kind of split on, because I think there's a camp of people that think that Sharpe is good, just young, and then there is a camp that thinks that Sharpe is like just like an empty calories, not a very good player at all.
And if you ask me which side I'm on, I would say
squarely in the middle.
Yeah, I would say yes. This is the one I'm the most conflicted about, because like it's a lot of money for a guy who is still largely theoretical.
Sure.
And I think that is what the comparison is, probably?
Jaylen Brown or Zach LaVine.
Exactly what I was going to say. Jaylen Brown, it's like a lower stakes version of the Jaylen Brown deal, where it's like...
Right, because he was on this contract, but when the cap was like much different.
Yes.
It was like exactly this deal, but I think that Jaylen was a significantly larger portion of the cap, right?
It was a huger portion of the cap. I think his was $30 million a year, and it was a larger like portion of the cap. Like, it was a little bit under the max. So this is like underneath the max. I will say I do think Jaylen was like more established than Shaedon was.
For sure. He already had played in the playoffs, which is a big difference, and you saw that he could hang in the playoffs.
Yep. And so I don't know. I mean, I do think this is a lot of money to lay out there for a guy who is still that theoretical. I believe in Shaedon. Like, I feel like I am, like, in general, like on the higher end of the Shaedon thing. Seeing the reality of the amount of money he makes, I'm like, I could be bad, like it could be kind of bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously a Shaedon apologist. I think crazy athletes with good touch rarely ever fail. I've kind of talked about this over and over again, but I have said before, this is the make or break year for him. This is, to me, I actually could see this going in either direction. I could see this going in the direction of, man, we paid a guy way too early, and he didn't turn out what we wanted him to be, which, by the way, Joe Cronin has a history of handing out those contracts. We saw it with Jeremy Grant, and like, look, I know everyone always uses the Dame excuse. Well, we had Dame on the team and we wanted to keep Dame. That contract was always bad. That was always a bad deal to give out to Jeremy Grant. And the the DeAndre Ayton part of it is another thing. Like, you traded for DeAndre Ayton on a max when he really did not prove to be that level of player. So it's not like Joe Cronin doesn't have a history of acquiring contracts that were very clearly not worth it, right? Having said that, they clearly have seen something from him this offseason. From everything we've heard, he's been crushing, and he came into camp, he looked great, he looked good in preseason. The thing about him to me is like, it's kind of shit or get off the pot time in terms of like, you have to be better on defense and you have to make your threes in a similar way that you did when you were a prospect and when you were a rookie. It was on lower volume, but he was one of the better catch and shoot guys in the NBA. Like, they need a season or two where he is just a reliable catch and shoot guy, because that's what really unlocks his game. And it's been really frustrating that he's been a below average 3-point shooter the last few years, because if he was able to do that, he could work in a lot more lineups. He could become like a legit multi-level scorer. He would basically be a 3-level scorer if that falls into place. So to me, this contract all hinges on how good of a 3-point shooter he can become. Because like, I don't think he's ever going to be someone that runs a ton of pick and roll, but like, I think he will be a good ISO scorer. He was one of the best ISO scorers in the NBA last year. He's going to be a good transition player. He was one of the better transition scorers in the NBA last year. And just for a team that's so offensively starved, like this Portland team, if he can just get up to like 38% from three, I would feel much better about this deal moving forward. And honestly, I think there is a world where this becomes a good deal for Portland if he can become that level of player. And then the defense is just like, you have no excuse if you're Shaedon Sharpe to not be a good defender. You are crazy athletic. You're long. You need to lock in on that end. And like, they have the infrastructure to make it so that you don't have to do that much on the defensive end. You're not guarding the best player every single night. You're not like, just be a good defender, a solid to good defender. And that can change so much for you. I'm not giving up on Shaedon Sharpe, but if he doesn't continue to, progress and get better this upcoming year, then yeah, it's good. But once again, like, it's gonna quote unquote look bad. But like last year, it's similar to the Jalen Green deal, where it's like Jalen Green is someone who made what, over $30 million per year, and Shaedon Sharpe is going to be making, how much is this? 22 like 22 million. Like, to me, that is a tradable contract. If it doesn't work, I still think there's going to be a team that would bet on him
for sure,
that number. And then
even if he Celtics,
I think there will be a lot of teams that would be like interested, because apparently he has fans around the league. I'm not the only one that thinks he's good. And just because, advanced analytics hate him and he struggled and hasn't been able to stay healthy, I don't really think that there's a way that there isn't a team out there. If a team is willing to take on Jalen Green at $30 million per year, there's no way there isn't a team that's willing to take on Shaedon Sharpe at $22 million.
For sure. You might not get like exactly what you want, but like, yeah, if you need to like cut bait, like you can. Yeah. And just to go back to what you were saying before, like about it being a shit or get off the pot year. Some would say a make or break year. Maybe someone could draft. He
might have literally been like our second or third pick.
Yeah, he really is like the I do think this season really is going to like very much inform how I feel about him quite a bit. I think if he's asked this year, I'm probably going to be out a little bit.
Like I've kind of been in. I'm willing to. I've seen it with so many guys in that second year where they get hurt, and it kind of throws off whatever they were. Cade's a perfect example of like, when Cade got hurt, I was like, and he just wasn't that great when he came back off the ankle injury. I was like, I don't really know. And then he, took a huge leap in year 4.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Sharpe's going to be close to Cade. Like, Cade's very clearly one of the 20 or 25 best players in the NBA now.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that like, there are these guys that like his second year, he got hurt, might have fucked up some of his development. But once again, the shooting is the most frustrating thing for me, because I just think that his touch is really good and like the shots just haven't really gone in. So that's just a tough look when you're trying to make the pitch for Shaedon Sharpe. But yeah, once again, last year for him. And if not, then I'm moving on.
Yeah. And it's nowhere near a max contract. So
I mean, it's literally how, I mean,
20,
it's a risk, but it's not like the biggest risk in the world for all the reasons.
I think the baby max is like 38 or something like that now. So like you're like 20, you're like 15
more than that. It's gotta be. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I guess Paulo you might not be able to use because he might have. I don't think Paulo made an All NBA team.
Oh, did he not? So
I don't think any of these guys have except for J-Dub.
Yeah. Somebody was asking earlier, do we want to bet on what Wemby's is? And it's like, yes, he will get the Rose Rule full max.
Yeah,
Next question.
As long as he plays enough games.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's true. He doesn't
that
need to
is
play enough.
Cool in this now, though.
God, the Spurs poisoning him fucking every.
I know
the second he gets to 65 games, they just shut him down.
Maxey didn't get that extension. He didn't get the All NBA the last year, which would have gotten him. He was on the fringe, and he didn't end up. He didn't end up getting that full extension. With whatever percentage of the cap it is. What is it, 35% of the cap or 30% of the cap versus 25% or something crazy? Yeah. So the long and short of it is that Wemby's a lock if he stays healthy. But that would be the thing that could potentially save them from paying him, which would be the worst thing to happen because he should fully get, he will be the best player or one of the 3 best players in the NBA for that entire contract.
That's a good quote. When do you think Wemby's the best player in the NBA?
The first full year?
The first time we don't, because you know how we're on year 5 of being it's Jokic. Somebody else might win MVP, but Jokic has been the guy for a while now.
I'd probably still not say this season, but maybe the following season. The thing with Wemby is all of his preseason stats are off the fucking charts.
Yeah.
But he turns the ball over a ton still.
Yeah.
He averaged if you looked at all of his stats from the preseason, and I like the fact that he's trying to be a little bit more of a playmaker. I like the fact that he's willing to take more risks and, try to grow his game more. Cause I think that that's ultimately what's going to help him reach the ceiling. Right. He ended up having I think it was 7 turnovers per 36 in preseason. That's not something that is you can just completely keep your eye off of. But I would say probably 2 years from now. So not this upcoming year, but the following year, I feel we'll get into that conversation. It's going to be really hard. To me, I think I had him 3rd or 4th on my MVP ballot this year.
Mm-hmm.
I could see him passing Giannis and maybe even SGA in the next year. I would be very surprised if he's better than Jokic this season.
Yeah, I think we're 2 to 3. I was going to say 3 years feels pretty safe to me.
Yeah,
it's he's the best player in the NBA.
Yeah, there's definitely a chance. So all right, we'll see what the Spurs look like this upcoming year with all of their shit going on.
I was talking mad shit on Steph Castle's name, and then I watched a Spurs game not that long after it, and I was like, he actually looks pretty good.
I think Steph Castle's good. I mean, I'm not the biggest Steph Castle fan in the world, but he has I've said it time and time again, he just has moments where he's just looks like a star. Now maybe I'm falling for it a little bit because there are plenty of guys that have looked like stars. Shaedon Sharpe, we just talked about a little bit. Maybe I'm falling for the aura. But he certainly has star level qualities, I would say. But how many guards, even if you're wing sized, can't consistently shoot from the outside that become stars in the NBA nowadays? There are two, we talk about the importance of being able to shoot, but also being able to apply rim pressure. The rim pressure stuff is nothing for him. He's really good at getting downhill, really good driver, great decel, can get to the line. He's a good player. It's just the what will determine what his true ceiling is him not just becoming we always talk about people always say, well, you just got to become a 36% shooter. No, the bar is so high if you want to be a star guard. You have to become a legit pull-up shooter in order to become a true star guard, even with some of the qualities that he has. The good thing is he's playing with Wemby.
Well, and especially above the break threes is the big thing too. You don't get a lot of corner looks if you're a guard, unless you're running some sort of weird set. So that, and that's gonna bump down your 3-point percentage as well.
The good thing is the paint will always be vacated when he's playing with Wemby.
Yes. No, and I'll just say this. Too. I got really annoyed with Steph Castle because everyone kept trying to anoint him very early when he was still really raw. And I last year, not raw, but he just was not looked overwhelmed. And I was very frustrated by that. he does look like a lot more like ready to play. Like
he was good at the end of last year, and I was like, I remember there was a stretch where this was even earlier in the season, but that game I brought it up on the podcast many times. I'm sure people are sick of it at this point. The game he had against the Sixers, and once again, the Sixers were dog shit last year. You shouldn't take anything from that. Yeah. But he got to the line and into the paint at will in a way that I was like, there's something here. Like you're not just a rookie guard who can just live at the line. And I think he had 3 and 1s in that specific game, and he made all the free throws. I was like, he's got juice, dude. Like he's very clearly a going to be a good NBA player.
If Carter Bryant is like can be anything in like the next he's going to be dog shit out of the game, but like I think he like could turn himself into like an actual NBA player before the end of the year. They could be kind of dangerous. I'm starting to see a little bit of vision for the.
You can't do this. You can't do it.
I'm sorry. I can't.
No, you can't do it. I'm not allowing it. Yes. You can't spend the entire offseason just destroying them and then turn around and be like, well.
I look, I'm not married to my priors. I don't. Now, do I remember my priors? No. Do I just say what I feel in my bones at any given point in time? Yes. But
Sam is writing in his arm, do not trust Jeremy Sohan.
The big hand. Go right on my big hand. It's so small. Jeremy Sohan.
Well, they have 2 of the best stretch bigs in the NBA in Wemby and Luke Cornett.
That one's gonna go down as a that one's really tough. Can I defend myself for a second? Brian pointed this out to me. He did shoot 2 a game on like pretty limited minutes. His first year with the Celtics. Yes.
Yeah, we talked about
the first stint. Yeah.
He didn't even play that
he didn't. He played like 16 minutes a game. But I got used to that. That's Biden brain. What happened there was I have Joe Biden brain.
Yes, Sam, we've talked about this before. Your brain has been frozen in time since 2022, 2023. We can't hold you accountable for anything that has happened since then. It's every podcast when you're like, I really think Chris Middleton is going to be a huge difference maker. I'm like, Chris Middleton doesn't have ankles, Sam. I don't know what to tell you.
It's gonna be good. The crypto is only going up, folks. Buy
now. That's our new sponsor.
Yeah, let's go.
It's gonna keep going up forever. Don't worry about it. Invest in AI as well. So guess how many threes Luke Cornett has made in his 235 games as a Celtic? I'm gonna say
I think it's
7.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's very low. I know it's very low because it was somebody said it to me and it was devastatingly low. 13, yeah.
13?
230. And I watched every goddamn one of them. And they were magnificent and made a big impression on my brain.
For anyone who isn't subscribed to the Patreon, this was part of the Patreon episode the other day that Sam was convinced that Luke Cornett was a stretch big. And I was like, I don't think he has been since he was on the Knicks, which was like 7 years ago.
And I cannot stress enough. I still do this, I don't know what happened there. Like, I'm genuinely still alarmed by this because I have very distinct memories of Luke Cornett, like making threes in the corner, like several times. So I don't know. I don't know, man.
Sam has been abducted by the Wemby aliens, and they have wiped his memory.
Yeah.
And they have replaced them with footage of Luke Cornett photoshopped into it with AI in a Celtics jersey, and it's actually Knicks footage and footage from him when he was in college when he used to shoot threes.
I'm like the boomers who are getting fooled by the like AI Sora generations. Like I'm just going on Facebook and seeing Luke Cornett hitting threes.
I'm glad
his jersey says like cultic.
I'm glad that my dad has me to like check. Yeah, because he'll just like ask me and be like, I saw this on Facebook the other day that like it will be like I saw that like the Eagles are trading AJ Brown to the Cleveland Browns, and I'm like, no, that is not a thing. No, what? And he's like, oh, I guess it was wrong. And then I'm like, how many people out there are just going unchecked? And they don't, by the way, they don't even try to fact check anything now. Not that like social media should necessarily, like the social media companies we've seen when they are in charge of these things, what can happen, specifically with Twitter, but like it is rampant how there are no checks and balances on Facebook. Like it is legitimately just just complete free for all.
me seeing that Luke Cornett signed with the Spurs, but he died. He died when that large woman threw the rock through the glass bridge. The dog saved the little girl, but not him. No, Luke Cornett, he passed away.
He's like Macaulay Culkin's character at the end of The Good Son, or falling off the cliff. Joe Mazzulla is kicking him off.
He shot one last three as he was falling off the glass bridge. Did you watch do you see the ones that Kill a Cow posts? There's like a Eagles Facebook group that always does this, and he'll post like the comment section of those, where it'll always be like, they're always like really funny.
They're insane, dude. Matt Del Rio will send us those sometimes too, and it will always be like fake movie. Why are they obsessed with fake movies?
I don't know.
Like the live action Simpson movie with Adam Sandler as Homer Simpson. Where in your brain are you creating these realities?
Everything is everything is 12 theory. This is like the internet. Everything is college humor now. Yep. Like if everyone's using AI to make their own college humor bits.
So. It really seems more like Tim and Eric to me, to be honest. Like,
yeah, that is true. Yeah,
like the Paul Rudd's thing where he just goes to the computer and it's like the dancing guy. Like that is everyone's brain on social media now.
Yeah,
you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right? Where he generates the dancing.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's the Eric Andre show has that too. Google, show me this guy's balls.
Yeah,
people just do that now.
That's all of social media now.
Yeah,
actually, for anyone over the age of 40. But yeah, no, it's.
I should just send AI generated like me with Dua Lipa to like my grandfather who's like in the home and just be like, "Bait it, Grandpa."
Here's my great Albanian wife.
My Albanian wife. I am Callum Turner, by the way.
Amazing. Yeah, no. By the way, you're not beating the everyone's 12 allegations. Flop sent into the Discord. Sam thinks the Celtics are championship contenders. Everyone really is 12 now.
That's right. That's the only one I'm right about.
If we replace you with a 12-year-old who's just from the Boston area on that episode, would the result have been any? That's not true. They would have picked them to win the championship.
They would have picked them to win the championship
because you just picked them to get to the finals, like a realistic person.
Yeah, exactly.
Like an adult,
a real thing that can happen. The thing is, I backed it up with facts and logic, so you can't get mad at me. I had a lot of really good reasoning for that. And everybody. I can't wait. Here's what I just want to tell everyone. If you root against the Boston Celtics this year, you're rooting for SH. I just want to bring that up. This is a me versus SH.
Because SH thinks that
they're going to
Celtics are going to be bad.
Yeah. Now, true, you could say I want both of you to be miserable and I want them to win 38 games.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
that's 36 and 46 picking 12. Like,
yes.
Like Will just said. That is the ideal outcome for anyone who isn't a Celtics fan.
Yeah.
Which means it won't happen, by the way, because they have the mandate of heaven.
Let's go. All right. Anyway,
let's move on to the Rockets.
The Rockets.
So Jabari got extended a while ago. Jabari got extended like literally when free agency started, basically. Tari did not get extended, which we have a little bit of inside information on that. Apparently the reason why they didn't, I'm sure this might have been reported by someone very legit, but apparently the reason why they didn't want to give Tari extension is just because he doesn't play enough games. I think that they said that 60 games a year is what they're aiming for him. If he can stay healthy and play this upcoming season, that he might end up getting the deal that he wanted to. He played 82 his rookie year, then he played 22, and then he played 57. So the test for Tari this year is going to be, can you play 60 games and can you stay healthy for an entire year? And if you can, then we are more likely to give you that big contract that you were seeking, right now. And the one wrinkle in this, and I don't think it's likely to be clear because they're going to be a good team and Tari just helps them a lot. He is tradable now, though. They could trade Tari at this upcoming season, and they do need guard help more than they need wings. Like, between Amen, Jabari, Dorian Finney-Smith, like, I'm not saying Tari's a luxury because Tari's just a different kind of wing than those guys, but I'm just saying it's not completely off the table, I don't think.
Who would you want for Houston as a guard? Because they have to be able to handle a pretty decent amount of offensive responsibility, I feel like. I'm not doing a Derek White thing. I'm not. I swear to God.
Oh, no. I wouldn't even think of Derek White. I was thinking about Peyton Pritchard in this scenario. But Peyton Pritchard, unfortunately, is going to be all NBA when the Celtics are contenders.
Yeah.
So you got to
I don't think the Celtics are trading guys unless like Jalen actually does get hurt, which maybe he will actually be hurt. But I genuinely don't. I think the Celtics are really going to give it a shot. So I'm not even considering the Celtics guys. Is there like someone who's on like a team that's like I like tried to run through like I quickly makes too much money and is like not good enough.
Originally I thought Grimes would have been great, but now it doesn't make sense because they can't extend Grimes.
Yeah,
because they wouldn't get his bird rights in a trade, and they don't have a way to cap space. I don't think Malik Monk's good enough, to be honest. Like like Malik Monk, but like he's just not good enough to trade Tari. This one's interesting. Tari and a first for Austin Reeves would be very funny. But
Austin Reeves is interesting.
Austin Reeves, honestly, if I'm Houston, I'm like, I don't know. Or if I'm the Lakers, I'm like, I think that makes Houston too good.
Yeah, I guess that's true. They have to beat them.
I'd be like, we have to get through Houston at some point. Like Austin Reeves would make them. He would be not a hand in glove fit because you would prefer someone who's a little bit better on defense, like Derek White or Fred VanVleet or someone like that. Yeah. But Austin Reeves certainly would give them a lot of juice. The other problem with that, as people have pointed out, is that they would immediately have to pay Austin Reeves. And the reason you're trading Tari is because you probably want to get someone who's on a already locked up contract that isn't, some massive deal. I couldn't really find one that's a perfect fit, to be honest with you. If the Sixers had brought back Quentin Grimes at not an insane number, I think he would have been great. I think that there might be someone that I'm not really thinking of right now, but like, just to go acquire a playoff level guard who's on a reasonable contract, it's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do. But if you are trading a wing, teams are going to be lining up to get a wing like Tari, who's, super athletic, really good defender, good rebounder, great in transition.
Let's say Cleveland gets off to a really rough start. Things are bad. What else would they have to give besides Tari to have Garland be on the table?
It's too much money. They can't.
No,
they can't trade Fred.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah,
that's why I'm like, I don't think the Rockets are going to make any trades this year.
Yeah,
because I just think that once Fred got hurt, it was like, all right, well, now we have to wait for a year to make trades because Fred was never going to get traded in the first place. But also, if you had Fred, you could be like, let's push in the chips and go make a real trade. But now you don't have Fred, and a year from now, he doesn't have that no trade clause that he'll have on the contract this year. So the long and short of this is that I think they just have to kind of wait. Unless an amazing deal that I can't think of for a guard for Tari comes through here, I can't really think of one.
What's the reporting on Fred's angle on the no trade? Is he just not, there's nothing he's going to approve?
There's really nothing to incentivize him. Like what would incentivize him to be like, all right, it's also like, it's not a great look to trade a guy after he tears his ACL. Now, look, if there's a right deal out there for your team and you should probably explore it if you think you can win the championship this year. But I just can't imagine a scenario where Fred is like willingly waiving.
That's what I'm saying. Like he would like have to do that. Well, like, is there like some sort of like trick where you can like plant some trees for him? Like he can have like a little like, something to like. Yeah, I'm like not even kidding though. There's got to be like some sort of way for these guys to like, hey Fred, free use of the private jet whenever you want. Like, like if you agree to this, like I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Someone said, would you send Nembhard in a deal for Tari? No, I think Nembhard's too good to trade for Tari.
Yeah, they'd have to bring on. I mean, with picks though. I think the Pacers want to stay good though. I don't think they want to strip themselves down to the bones. If
the Pacers were like, we're doing a rebuild, the player to trade there is Siakam.
Yeah.
Or like a retooling or whatever. Siakam is very obviously better than Nembhard. I'm not saying that Nembhard's better than Siakam. But what I'm saying is that if you like Nembhard, you were good enough to win the NBA finals with Nembhard, right? You were Siakam is someone who is now 31, 32.
Something like that. Yeah.
And then by the time Halliburton gets back, do the math. That's something you would have to explore. I think Nembhard's too young, and he's already locked up on a decent contract. Like, I just don't think that will happen.
I think you just have to give too much money. Like,
someone said Kobe White for Tari, and then someone said the Bulls consider him untradeable. That's why they're a great organization.
They're gonna be.
That's why they're the best organization in sports.
Would be very funny if they traded Fred waived the no trade clause, and the trade was Josh Giddey to the Rockets.
Well, they don't have to trade him in that scenario.
Oh, really? They could just make the money work?
No. I'm saying for Kobe White. I'm saying
right.
Kobe White for Tari pretty much works straight up.
I'm just saying how funny it would be to have to trade for Josh Giddey to raise your playoff ceiling. It's very funny to me. It would be.
I don't really. I mean, I know that Eam is a pervert. Udoka is a pervert in more ways than one.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he would enjoy the Josh Giddey experience.
Yeah.
But they are. I don't know if you saw their starting lineup for the opening game, but it's absolutely insane.
No, tell me about it. No, I didn't see it. What is it?
Point Amen, Kevin Durant at the 2, Jabari Smith at the 3, Şengün at the 4, and Steven Adams at the 5.
I kind of honestly 4, 6, 11 guys and a whatever Amen is 6'7", 6'8" guy is pretty beast. That's that.
We'll see.
I mean, I guess we will see. I mean,
we'll learn pretty quick.
Yeah. I think it's worth trying. Why not? I'm kind of in favor of just throwing out jumbo lineups and seeing what happens. Like
Sam is Zoomer memeing 6'7".
Yeah. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I'm old. I'll just admit it.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. No idea. I'm sorry. I don't. I'm hoping it's not something cancelable. Like
no, it's just a stupid meme. Will points out Elton Brand had a vision. They hated Jesus for telling the truth. That's a very good point about the jumbo ball. Elton Brand was just ahead of its time, dude.
Yeah.
People didn't get it. Now he's thought of as a genius. He's changed the NBA.
I would never shut up about Al Horford's Philadelphia 76ers season if I were a Sixers fan. I would. It would drive me fucking insane. Like I would become the Joker about like how different Al Horford was at that specific stop in his career versus literally everywhere else. Like it's crazy.
Wait, what? The Al Horford to the Sixers?
Yeah, when his season on the Sixers is like so different from.
Yeah, I mean that was more about the fact that the Sixers just didn't play any guards. At least the players and keep in mind this was also before Joel was Joel MVP Joel.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The thing I think about with this Houston team is like they at least have Kevin Durant and Amen. Amen is very much like Ben Simmons that he can't shoot.
Yes.
But at least in theory, I guess, like the Sixers did not have anyone even on the level of a 37-year-old Kevin Durant, who, by the way, also just got a huge extension.
I saw that was interesting.
$45 million per year for Kevin Durant at this age. I guess that's fine. I didn't really think about it.
It's a little high. I mean, it is Kevin Durant, so there's like you can't really say, "Hey, Kevin Durant, take $30 million." Like,
I mean, you can. He might say "fuck off," but you can try. I'm sure they did.
I don't love that. I don't love that.
$45 million per year.
I like Kevin Durant. I have a lot of respect for Kevin Durant as a player. It's been a little spooky at times. There's been some scary stuff. The Halloween season is here. Like
spooky, scary.
Yeah, werewolf bar mitzvah. I'm keeping an eye on Kevin Durant. Like the efficiency is great, but like the fact that the defense is kind of evaporated and usually the one follows the other like pretty quickly. You know what I'm saying? And I think that having a guy like that when you have a bunch of young, hungry guys on the roster who want to prove themselves, want the ball, want to like expand their role, and you've got this old 37-year-old absorbing all the shots. I don't know. I thought that it was going to be a little bit more transient for Kevin Durant. That's longer than I envisioned his Rockets stay being. So
we'll see. I don't know. I just kind of look at it as like this is the perfect context if he is going to work on a team.
True.
It would have been even better if they had Fred, but like in terms of hey, you don't have to do any dirty work. Like We have a roster of dirty work guys, and that's the thing that you've really not. The reason why the Suns sucked, funny enough, the reason why the Suns sucked is because they traded Tumani Kamara in the DeAndre Ayton Nurkic trade. If they had just kept Tumani Kamara, like that team would have been decent. Like they just had no wings, no dirty work guys, no one. They were all old. They were slow. Now it's like, hey, we got this, we got all these young athletic guys. They're going to run. They're going to create extra possessions and cause chaos and all this shit. And you just have to not be Jalen Green. And I think he'll be pretty good at that.
Well, and now Tumani's on the Blazers, and he can put his hand on Shaedon's shoulder and say, "I'm a fool to do your dirty work. No more. Go see one battle after another in theaters."
I have been playing that ever since I saw the movie. I just
really
played it over and over.
Really good needle drop.
Absolute slapper.
Yeah.
So Jabari gets this massive deal that everyone thinks this is kind of similar. It's a bigger version of the Sharpe deal, where you're just betting on him getting better. Look, I've said before, I'm not a big Jabari Smith fan. I know that he is someone that has a lot of fans. I seem to be in the minority here. I don't see it with him in the way that other people do, but he's a 3-4, I guess. Now they're putting him at the 3. He's more of a 4. Really more of a 4-5, but with this roster, we'll see how that will work. They're going to need him to continue to up his volume from 3. And he's tall and a wing / forward, even though he kind of plays more like a big at times, who has decent touch and can rebound. And he's decent on defense. If you're a Jabari Smith fan, you probably think this contract is great. I'm not, but I understand why they did it. Like I just maybe he'll prove me wrong over the next few years and he'll be awesome. This is a bet on him becoming better.
It feels pretty similar to the Jalen Green one to me a little bit, like where he's more. The thing is, he's a more valuable archetype. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Like so that like makes it not as bad, but
fit
like
into a role more.
You fit into a role more, but I think that like. Jalen Green he was coming off of like a Mickey Mouse March where he was not theoretical, but besides that, he had been largely theoretical up to that point.
One of the all-time great contract year runs. We should do a contract year draft where it's like we just draft like Brandon Ingram is a Hall of Famer for this, where it's just like he will be exactly who you want him to be during the contract year, and then every other year he's just going to do whatever the fuck he wants. I think that Jalen Green March is like his jersey should go in the Mickey Mouse March rafters for that one.
Yeah, I know that's the Donald Duck preseason and the Mickey Mouse March are like the two zones of where guys become something crazy. But Jabari, like, look, I don't think him. I was way higher on him coming out than you were, and I have. Changed my mind yet again.
I didn't think he was one of the 3 best players from that draft. Luckily, I had Jaden Ivey 3rd, and he is very clearly worth a contract extension, right?
I think Jaden Ivey has higher upside than Jabari Smith. Still, he is more likely to suck and be ass. But
you're saying there's a chance.
But I've
been underwhelmed with Jaden, but he also has these injuries now too, which for an athletic guy that scares the shit out of me.
But that's the bigger issue.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a moot point to be totally honest. But Jabari, it's like fine. Like even if you need to get off of him at some point, I do think you'll be able to trade him. It's kind of a Harrison Barnes is still in the NBA, man. Like,
I hate wings and forwards is really the thing that it comes down to. I really I hate, unless you're a playmaker or like a lights out shooter and you're a wing or a forward, I just think you suck. And I think you're ruining basketball is really what it comes down to. Jabari Smith is ruining basketball.
Jabari Smith having strong opinions on Jabari. I don't really have tremendously strong opinions for that. I think
this is fine. I've said it before. This is fine, but I'm just like, all I'm saying is that, like, maybe he gets much better. Even though he hasn't shown a ton of progress, he's certainly better than his rookie year.
Yeah.
But even though he hasn't shown a ton of, I am scarred from the Jalen McDaniels propaganda that I had to do. God, I'll never recover from that.
That was the same. You were just distressed though. That was around the same time you were doing DeJounte Murray. It's like you were saying you were okay with DeJounte Murray on the team. That was a bad time for you.
You met me at a weird time in my life.
Yeah, that was. You were fucking Tyler Durden. Trill was going to Fight Club at night when that was fucking all that was going on. He was looking at Brandon Ingram. You were talking yourself into Brandon Ingram for a week there. That was like,
yeah, we call those the troubles in this household.
Trill stumbling home covered in blood at fucking 3 a.m. Lauren's like, where were you? It's like, I don't know whose blood this is. It's not mine. I'm fine.
It was a tough time. Tough time. Also, the thing I was gonna say about this though was the Jabari deal was like universally praised. Like, I felt like I didn't see many people that push back on it, which fine, whatever.
Sure.
If you're a Jabari fan, once again, maybe he gets better and I'm wrong on this. And I know he's younger than Keegan Murray, but like the Keegan Murray deal got like destroyed. And he's making more than him, but not that much more. I think it's like $2 million more a year, if I remember correctly.
Keegan Murray's also been better than him.
Like, yeah,
not a lot.
My thing with Keegan is that like he just kind of is who he is at this point.
That's true.
Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Jabari or Keegan in the next 5 years?
I'd rather have Keegan. I know Jabari like could be better. You know, I'm not like gonna like. If you told me
Jabari's a better rebounder,
yeah.
Although his rebounding was not really, I just think his playoffs got really overrated. Like, everyone's like, he was so great in the playoffs. I'm like, he had one good game. He played 20 minutes a game. And he didn't rebound at the level that he normally does in the regular season, which I think he is a good rebounder, to be clear. I'm not saying he isn't. But I guess that's a tough one for me because, like, the thing with Keegan is, like, there really isn't any more to Keegan's game. Like, it's like he will have really good shooting seasons. He's not an elite shooter, but he'll have good shooting seasons. And then it's very funny because my pre-draft comp for him was Harrison Barnes. And I feel like he is basically just new Harrison Barnes in that regard. Barnes, he honestly might even been a little bit better as an athlete and passer. It was a very Kings pick, but that's the other point here is that it was the Kings tax, which is that you have to pay a little bit more if you're Sacramento just to keep guys and keep them happy in Sacramento. Whereas Houston's like a place that players want to play. They, if I remember correctly, they have like a really good tax situation there. And then on top of all of that, they also are a good team right now. And like, I don't know. To me, it's a toss up between those two. I guess I have to kind of take Jabari by default just because like the idea that Jabari could become better is like more enticing than like what I know Keegan is. But I've said before, like, I think Keegan just needs to be like a PJ Washington where he just finds the right team and role for him. It's not on the Kings. It's the unfortunate part. But Tari not getting extended is the other part of this that, like, we'll see with that either at this upcoming season or next year. He might be the restricted free agency guy where this just drags out. Like, he's like the Kuminga or the Grimes of this class, where we just get all summer next year. But the difference is that there's teams with cap space. If you're a team with cap space, would you not throw a bag at Tari next offseason and just say, fuck it, we ball? Like, if you're like the Washington Wizards or one of those teams that can create cap space?
No, I wouldn't. I don't think I would. I don't know if he's got the upside for it, really. Like, you know, like I don't think the upside is a strong enough bet. Like, what is the upside?
I think the Washington Wizards just need good NBA players is my thing. Like, that's why I could talk myself into it.
But like, at what cost? Like, all of their guys are on rookie scale. All their like theoretical guys that you get mad at, they're all on rookie scale contracts. Besides Square Kiss, who's bad, but
sure, that they're gonna have $100 million in cap space. What I'm saying is that, like, what you're getting from Tari, at least. Like, I guess the problem is that, like, their vision for the team is like all these guys who can handle the ball, can pass, can shoot. Tari is not that. Like, Tari is a wrecking ball. Like, Tari is like he is just going to come in and fuck shit up in good and bad ways. And if you're Washington, I guess you're probably trying to do your like cutesy version of like what,
It as always, it depends on the number. Like, are you paying him?
Yeah, I think Houston would match on most numbers that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, are you offering him like $20 million a year? Like, I think Houston probably matches that. Like,
yeah, if he plays 60 games this year, they'd probably match that.
Also, you have to remember that you're the Washington Wizards, and even if you get him to come there, he will play 17 total games for your franchise because you're one of the most cursed franchises in the NBA. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Remember Otto Porter after he got paid?
Yes.
His body just
more like I don't remember.
Yeah, no, they had to salary dump him like a year and a half later to the Bulls.
I love that he was a like very important part of the 2022 Golden State Warriors. I don't think about that staring at my ceiling every night. Yeah,
you can't complain because we literally just went over this where the Celtics get the best year of a guy's career health-wise.
Not in 2022.
To be clear, it's also not players you like.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's Brogdon and Porzingis and like players
care.
that, I guess it's not any of the guys that you.
But
Marcus Smart, I mean, certainly got the best years of his career.
He wouldn't have broken down if we'd never traded him. That was his heart breaking.
Let's just say I think you're going to have an opportunity to acquire Marcus Smart in the future if you choose to.
I'm so excited. I think he is coming home. I've said he's coming home next year.
Was he on a 1-year deal?
2
year or 1 year?
I literally don't know, but I don't think it matters.
Maybe getting bought out of that.
Yeah, I was to say they might buy him out. So
honestly, this would be a good year to do that if like you guys choose to go into the tank and you just do like bring the fan favorite home. I don't think Marcus Smart is going to be in the NBA in 3 years from now, is what I'm trying to say. So I think that you will be able to get hit. I'm just saying it's not trending in the right direction, right?
You'll notice I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying let's not. I'm just saying let's not.
Okay. All right. So the Pistons don't extend either of their guys is the other thing we need to talk about here.
I didn't realize that. That's kind of crazy.
They didn't extend Durant or Ivy, who were both lottery picks, technically.
Ivy, I get.
There was no way they were ever going to pay Ivy after he got hurt again. And also, it doesn't make sense from Ivy's standpoint either, because it's like, all right, if I do get offered a deal, it's going to be like, oh, here's $7 million per year or something. It's going to be something that's like, even if you're not high on Jaden Ivey, like Jaden Ivey could get probably an MLE deal if he were healthy in free agency.
Season-ending injury in year 3, just that means you're going to RFA.
And then he got hurt again.
Yeah,
he's already hurt going into this season. They played really well without him last year. And I think that it just makes more sense to wait for RFA for both sides in this case. Durant, I understood if I were Durant's camp, I would be like, I'm fine waiting, because I just look at it and I go, if I'm Durant, I get another year playing with Cade, who is going to maximize whatever my value is on offense. I could show that I can make some progress on defense. We're going to have just as much shooting. A lot of really good guys coming back this year, young guys, hungry guys who want to continue to grow as a team. And then next offseason, this cap space thing, there might be a team out there that's like, hey, we'll give you $25 million per year just to be, a lob threat, set screens, be a dirty work guy. And the Pistons are going to have to make a choice on whether they want to keep him or not. And I do think they would match on that, just because there's really no... The reason why this is interesting to me, actually, and I don't think they're going to trade Durant, but it does make it so Ivy and Durant are both tradable. Like, if there was a Lowry marketed trade that everyone keeps throwing out there for, like, Tobias Harris, salary-wise, just to get up there. Like, I don't think they would include Durant in that trade. Yeah. But I'm just saying that there is a world where he can get traded. I think that there might be a team next year that just like throws $20 to $25 million at him, and then the Pistons have to match.
Jalen Durant, you are a Boston Celtic. I've actually seen it in my soul of souls.
How does this trade even make any sense? You literally, the one thing that they need is not what you have.
Whatever, we'll talk. We'll figure it out. I'm a big Durant guy. I've always been a big Durant guy. So I am
still 21.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he
turns 22 in less than a month, but it's still like he'll be 21 entering this season.
it'll flatten out sometime soon, but I feel like he's played better every year. Like I feel like he's gotten better every year in the NBA too.
For sure. I was
yeah.
kind of out on Durant after that Monty Williams season. I liked him a lot as a prospect.
Yeah.
He fits that mold of guy that you like, the Robert Williams style big. But the thing that I struggled with him was he was so bad that year, but I'm just throwing that year out the window. Like everyone else looks so much better after when they got real players on this team and they got a real coach who wasn't already mentally retired from the NBA.
Yeah.
And then they ended up, he ended up having the best year of his career. Now he gets to a point where he could potentially get paid a year from now. And I think that he probably will.
I think the thing you have to be careful of if you're offering money to Durant is how much is he getting a benefit from playing with Cade? Like that's a
massive amount for sure. Yeah. But any team that signs him is going to know that, I think. Like any team that is like, they would probably already have someone who can make Jalen Durant work. If you're, for example, like the Washington Wizards should not do this. And they're one of the cap space teams next offseason. Unless they draft Darren Peterson with the first pick of the draft, then that changes everything. Then it's like, go throw money at someone like that. But no, I think that he could play himself into maybe Jared Allen's contract from a few years ago where he made like 20, 21, 22 million, but on a much larger cap. So it's a small percentage, which would have been equivalent to like, I don't know, 15 to 18. This is the thing I keep saying. Like everyone's like, oh my God, that's such a terrible deal. And like, I just feel like none of these deals are a disaster. Like straight up the Jalen Green deal last year, I was like, this is a bad contract. And there are not a lot of those in this class where it just feels like people haven't really adjusted to how big the salary cap is and how little of a percentage these deals are relative to that.
Yeah. The only one I even thought about being like a bad deal is like the Shaedon Sharpe one. And like, again, that number is kind of small, like to be totally honest, for like
the Shaedon Sharpe deal is only bad if you think there's no team in the NBA that would trade for Shaedon Sharpe at $22 million a year. And I just don't believe that.
I don't think that's true. I think you could get positive value for him. Like
I think you could at a minimum you could just get a player who makes more sense than Shaedon Sharpe for you next year. Yeah. Like, and it's like, all right, this makes total, makes total sense. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Slop addicts yearn for the return of Tim Hardaway Jr. getting almost 20% of the cap.
God, that was special.
I was gonna say, if anything, teams have gotten like super cheap about who they pay. Like, it just feels like teams are not willing to just hand out contracts like that. This whole offseason, we did not really see any deals like that. Like the Jeremy Grant deal 2 years ago would have never gotten handed out this offseason.
I yearn for the good old days during the cap spike when Portland was doing things like basically maxing Evan Turner. It like wasn't quite a max, but it was pretty close.
Well, the cap spike year is just such a crazy outlier. Like we'll never get something that pure again.
Mozgov contract on the Lakers. There's a lot.
Alan Crabb. The guys that were signed that offseason is like when you read about like during the gold rush, like how much money people were coming into, and like when you just like buy a plot of land and it has oil on it.
Once upon a time, there was a player called Festus Ezeli. This man posted himself in 240p. His own highlights, like literally like off of a Nintendo 3DS. And this man got $16 million a year from the Portland Trailblazers for like 3 years.
Did he?
I think it was 3 years, $45 million.
I always forget about that one.
Yeah.
This would be Jan Mahimi signed it would be equivalent of signing a 4-year, $106 million a year deal if he signed that deal this offseason.
God damn, dude.
It's just absolutely crazy.
So
all right. The last real one that got extended here that we have not talked about is Dyson Daniels.
Oh, I take that back. This one's also interesting.
I'm surprised that you were the one that was pushing back on this one a little bit because you've always liked Dyson.
I like Dyson, but he's also like still kind of a one-way player at this point. And like that's like
his offensive game is still very raw and developing, I guess you could say, if you want to be
Yeah,
nice.
I feel like we went like a little bit like too far. Like, and I think until he can, like, just as a guard, you have to be so good on offense as a guard to like make yourself a
But this
like.
team is such a perfect context.
I get it. Like,
That's why, once again, this is now. I'm saying this while Trae Young's on their team, to be clear.
yeah,
Maybe a year from now, Trae Young walks in free agency and it doesn't look, that good. If Dyson is your fifth best offensive player, which he very clearly is in this starting lineup,
yeah,
and you have a big who can space the floor, a creator that does all the creation for you,
yeah,
and then you also have a big wing who can handle the ball in Jalen Johnson, and then you have a spacer / advantage extender / maybe even a little bit more juice in Ricochet. This is about the perfect context for Dyson Daniels. And like,
yeah.
I think his offense is good enough when you consider the amount, just the sheer amount of plays that he makes on defense and creates opportunities for this team to run.
Yes.
Is like, he's going to be adding every single, like, it's a little bit of like, he's in that like safety Matisse Thybulle role, but he also can guard better at point of attack than someone like him. That to me is the reason why I actually think that this is a good deal for the Hawks.
I think it's a good deal for the Hawks, but I think you nailed it. The important thing is the context kind of has to stay the same, though.
Sure.
Like,
Porzingis isn't a guarantee.
Yeah. If you trade, you have to like be basically like, because Dyson could also like get better. I think he's pretty
22.
good. There's something he's good at. It's like, is it floaters or something? It's not threes.
He's a crazy good driver, and like he's pretty decent in the paint. He's a good driver. He's horrible on free throws.
Yeah.
And the outside shot comes and goes. But once again, the reason why I like this is because I feel like he's been put on one of the few teams where that won't matter quite as much.
Exactly. I don't think that'll matter, but here's the thing. If somebody goes down and the context gets worse and he's not really improved, I think it's going to be kind of a hard contract to trade because there's not a lot of teams that like need a guy like that at like 20. Like if Alex Caruso made like $25 million like a year.
Well, he does make 20 million.
Well, now he does. Now he does.
When he got traded, he
didn't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he also got traded to the Thunder, who like had a all-time like clean cap sheet. They just got to like add fucking Hartenstein for $30 million like that offseason. Like I'm just saying, like, those days are gone. Nobody's going to have that kind of cap space, and the type of teams that are going to be like looking for a guy like that are going to be contenders. And then you also need to have the offensive juice. I just don't think guards who are like kind of like have parts of their game that are actively bad on defense on offense are that valuable.
But Dyson is wing size though. Like that is the one thing that he's 6'8". Like it's not like he's 6'3" or 6'4". Like if he were like, now he's not 225, 30 pounds, whatever. He's not like a big wing necessarily, but he can. I think this is a good contract for the Hawks. I think that if anything, we've become accustomed to defensive tilted players getting scammed. That's why Suggs is really the only one that didn't. Suggs got more than this, by the way. Like
he did. Yeah.
He got like 30 million, if I remember correctly. Suggs got more than this. We just saw Tumani Kamara get scammed. Herb Jones got scammed. Like, just because those guys get scammed doesn't mean that paying Dyson Daniels $25 million per year when he's 22 and is continuing to develop his offensive game and is already most improved player, all defense level. To me, like, this is a perfectly fine to good contract.
I guess that's more what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is bad. I was surprised that it seemed like this one by far of any of them got the awesome.
Everyone
really
was like,
good.
This is
Everybody
great.
liked
it.
it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And I thought it was a little bit more. I mean, this is like a little bit of risk. Everything you just said, though, like, again, we always forget how young he is. Like, he was 19 when he came into the league. So like,
he didn't play his first year and a half, 2 years. Like, he barely played for New Orleans. So we don't really know exactly what he is yet. Like, that's the thing for me that thinks like, that this could actually end up like he could be a really good two-way player that look, maybe there are times where he struggles to make open shots or whatever in the playoffs, but like this is a worthy bet to make for a team that is in their in kind of a purgatory stage right now with the Hawks.
I like it more as like a bet. The me pushing back is more like I was just kind of pushing back on the fact that I saw like universal praise for it, and I thought it was a little bit more of a like kind of a risk. You know what I'm saying?
Dyson Daniels is a huge nerd favorite, which is weird because his impact metrics aren't quite up to what he like. I feel like when I watch a game with Dyson Daniels, especially on defense, like his defense absolutely pops because he's such a playmaker.
Yeah.
And it feels like the defensive metrics and just in general, like I guess he didn't have a good on-off swing or whatever last year. But like his metrics just haven't really caught up to the nerd rep, but he's also only 22. And like, I just feel like he's the kind of player that you want to have moving forward. We just saw the importance of like a good defense that creates that many extra plays for you can legitimately carry you to an NBA title. Like we just saw with the Thunder this past year. So just saying, I think in time, we will get to a point where this deal is, I think it's good for Atlanta. Here are the players that did not extend. What are you going to say?
I was just going to say, you always hit the nail on the head though. Like you always rightly, I think, triple underline this point. You really have to be elite, and maybe he is that guy, but you to be a 34% 3-point shooter who is a guard on a really good team.
That's fair. I always do talk about the fact that like if you were a defensively tilted player, he averaged 3 steals a game last year.
Sure, like, that's what I'm saying. He is an outlier. He is with defensive player of the year votes. Like
and the players that I've said are good enough to do that are usually a little bit bigger. Like Alex Caruso plays more like a wing than he plays like a guard. So does Dyson Daniels. That's my point on this. Is that like if you are going to have and by the way, he has a little bit like he's a really good driver. He's a decent playmaker. Like he's not a nothing on offense. It's just it is true that like the shooting does have to get to a level that it's respected in the playoffs for you to become, obviously guys like OKC, like their guys like Caruso's become a 40% 3-point shooter. Not on crazy volume, but can make open shots. Dort has become a really good shooter. Like Casey Wallace is a great corner shooter. Like they don't have shooting liabilities on that team. But I don't know if any of those guys are as good with the ball as Dyson Daniels is. So he's more in that Jalen Suggs category, who's also, he's been up and down as a shooter, but had a really good shooting season right before he got paid. So, all right. Here are the players that did not get paid. Is there anyone here that surprises you? Benedict Mathurin? Not surprised.
I'm not surprised.
If I were Mathurin, I would not want to get paid because
that's what I was going to say. If I were the
year.
Pacers, I might try to trick him because I think he's going to have kind of a big year this year.
I'm just not. To me, the archetype that Benedict Mathurin is, I will not get fooled anymore by.
Yeah, I guess that's Mathurin. True. Yeah. I guess you don't like. I was going to say like you offer him like 4 years, $60 million.
He's a talented scorer for sure. And the difference between him and a lot of the guys that don't pass and are kind of like sketchy on defense is that he gets to the line a ton, if I remember correctly, which is at least something you can build on. I watched a game with Gigi Jackson the other day that this is probably what Will probably nailed it right here. I will now fade any player that has a whiff of Kelly Oubre. Yeah. It is done. He has done so much psychological damage to my brain over the last year and a half. After like being like, wow, Kelly Oubre actually looks pretty good. Everything has been torture since. Watching him in the preseason even made me want to jump off a building. And the guys that fall into this bucket, I would say right now are like Cam Whitmore. And honestly, I always liked Cam more than other people because I thought he could really shoot, and he also was like a legit athlete.
Yeah.
I at least watched a little bit of Wizards preseason, and Cam passed the ball occasionally.
Yeah.
That's a progress.
Yeah, that's something.
The Charizard for this archetype to me is Gigi Jackson, who is like legitimately one of the worst team basketball players I've ever seen in my life. If he touches the ball, that shot is going up within 3 seconds. I cannot believe that there are people that still think that Gigi Jackson is going to have a good NBA career. I was like, bro, I've never seen this before. It is legitimately to a point where I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I know it was preseason, so I'm not going to overreact, and he will get chances just like he did 2 years ago when they were dog shit. But, like, I was floored by how little he passed in preseason. Like, even Kelly Oubre passes occasionally. Like, Gigi was like, oh my God, if he touches it, it's going up. So Mathurin is another one in this. He's probably the best of all of these guys, to be clear. Like, he's like a legit bucket getter. But we'll see. I guess Kuminga would also fall on this a little bit. Although Kuminga actually kind of sneakily has a little bit more like passing juice and is occasionally decent on defense. These guys don't really have much of that. So
Mathurin, I'm never gonna forget that Mathurin stream. The Mathurin game was all time, man. That was something else.
Yeah.
Winning and losing
the game.
Oh
my God.
Yeah, like
that was
the
finals game.
Yeah, that's just such a perfect fucking like
encapsulation
of that type of player.
He was always so tantalizing to me, dude. When I watched him as a prospect, I was like, this guy's athletic, he can shoot, he's gonna be awesome, he can handle the ball a little bit, and then it was just like, nah. But we'll see. He's definitely gonna get a chance this year with the Pacers. They need guys. They need guys to do shit. So and that's probably why they turned down this extension. Okay. Jeremy Sohan did not get paid. Not surprising.
So sad.
I mean, not surprising just because they just handed out a ton of money. He's already hurt. He's gotten better for sure, but like he really hasn't proven what he is as an NBA player yet.
And they have a billion guards. Like,
yeah.
I know he's like a forward, but like
he's a 4.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? But like, not really though. You know what I'm saying? Like, he plays.
Yeah, that's kind of all I think of him as. What are you talking about? He's like the only. That's like the only position I can imagine him.
He always has to have the ball though. Like,
not really. I mean, he can't shoot. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. The point Sohan stuff. I don't know. Maybe they just broke my brain like trying that stuff too much. Where I'm like, I don't know. I'm very out on him. Yeah.
He stinks. He can't run an offense. It's like, yeah, obviously he was very overtasked in that role. I'm not a big Jeremy Sohan guy, to be clear. Like, I'm not like, number one fan of him.
We need to have JS on the
pod. Yeah, we'll have JS on one of the streams and have him explain it to us.
Explain.
He's good at elements of basketball. It's just the scoring is just like, in order to be a starter in the NBA, you have to be able to score. And he just, I don't know if he can get there. But I
think of him as a big guard that sucks, I guess is what I
fair. His defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
Ousmane Dieng, no surprise there.
Surprises there.
He did hit a game winner in preseason, though. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that. Wow.
Amazing moment for him. So cool.
The rabbit with the clock for him, unfortunately. Get ready to learn Toronto Raptors, buddy.
It reminded me of the Markelle Fultz triple-double at the end of his rookie season, where everyone was like hugging him and running all around, and I was like, this is a disaster.
Yeah.
This is not good when the number 1 overall pick is getting celebrated for literally the last game of the season, having a triple-double. Yeah. Make-A-Wish game. Ochai Agbaji. Honestly,
I'm a little surprised by that, to be honest.
I'm not, just because, like, what are the Raptors? Like, the Raptors are already in the tag.
They never care about paying anyone, though. Like, they don't give a shit.
They finally drew the line at Ochai Agbaji.
Who's, like, what, their 4th best player on the team? Like,
no. He's, like, their 6th, 7th best player.
What, is RJ Barrett's better than him? Like...
I mean, Ochai probably has more of a role in the
drafted CMB. CMB is probably better.
6'7". God damn it!
Such a bitch.
Fuck! I don't even know this meme, and I keep saying it. Well, let's see. Their best players are Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, Emmanuel Quickley, Jakob Poeltl.
I don't think Scotty Barnes is their best player anymore. I'm sorry. Like
I'm not listing it in order. I'm just saying these players are better than Ochai Agbaji.
Yeah.
So those four are certainly better than Ochai Agbaji. RJ, whatever. Like I said the other day on Twitter, I was like, they're gonna bench RJ and they're gonna start Jameson Battle and win like 5 out of 7 games.
Seriously, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Grady Dick. I also forgot about Grady Dick, who's not good, but is at least of a similar caliber.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah. The Raptors.
I did pick them to make the play-in though. So
I will admit if the Raptors,
I think they're going to try really hard. I think they're going to grind out some wins just literally on the back of trying hard.
I do think Raptors fans should be allowed to kill me with a gun if the Raptors finish ahead of the Celtics in the standings.
I mean, that is not a bet I would make if I were you, because I literally had them one or two spots ahead of them. I think.
Yes. Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm worried about that. Also, the only game
they have the opposite problem with the Celtics though, because if the Celtics get one player injured, they're fucked. If the Raptors have one of their players get injured, it might help them
better.
RJ Barrett sprains his ankle, and they're a better team.
They're 2 injuries away from a 44-win team.
Exactly. It's like, wait, we have space to operate now because it's not everyone trying to dribble into the mid-range and crash into Jakob Poeltl. Yeah. Crazy.
God, that's funny.
Yeah. All right. So let's just run through. Oh, Johnny Davis didn't get extended?
No way. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I had no idea he was still in the NBA. I just assumed he got waived. Like,
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Will's comment where he said, the Raptors are the 18-19 Sixers, but what if everyone on the team sucks? Their Kawhi shot will be up in the play-in game. Well, then I would be correct because I had them losing in the play-in, I think.
Did Anthony Black not get extended?
Anthony Black was the 2023 draft.
Oh, he was the next draft. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Mark Williams obviously did not get extended. Dalen Terry did not get extended. Malachi Branham. Walker Kessler. They told Walker Kessler to fuck off. And Peyton Watson, who, by the way, is Peyton Watson just going to be available for trade now?
Yes, as he should be, because he's not good.
I'm not saying that he's good, but I'm saying that they're definitely not going to pay him now. Aaron, who has eyed him for the Sixers, I'm not a big fan of his. I did take him in the expansion draft, though. But he said, he was like, there's no way they're going to pay him literally anything now. Like, if a team offers him $9 million a year in free agency next year, the Nuggets will not be able to match that.
They shouldn't. I don't get the Peyton Watson stuff. Theoretically, I really think he stinks. Like,
he probably does. What I'm trying to say here is that, like, they basically, there's almost no way they can pay. Like, they might trade him just for a fringe rotation player at the deadline is my point.
If you want Peyton Watson, you can go get him. The Celtics will curse me and will give him like fucking 3-year, $24 million contract to make me mad.
Brad Stevens doesn't pay unproven players. He literally never has it his entire. Every player he's ever acquired is either a vet minimum guy or a proven player.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's like his whole thing. Like,
also, what do his Darko charts look like? That's how we figured
that out. Is the question. Yeah. By the way, someone sent me Shaedon Sharpe's Darko chart and it was good.
We're back.
So we have an advanced metric that likes Shaedon Sharpe, which I will be clinging on to until he sucks this year, and then I have to give up. All right.
I think he'll be like fine. I think he'll be ups and downs. I think Shaedon will be fine.
All right, before we get out of here, I did make it a goal of ours on the YouTube super chat. I don't know how that works. We only got one super chat, but it was for $5. So thank you to Brian again for sending that. Appreciate that. You could also tip us on Playback. We'll be streaming for the games on Playback, like I said, this week. We'll be streaming them on both Playback and YouTube. But before we do that, we have to do... I didn't even know that Zach Lowe... I'm just tapped into the universe. I didn't even know that Zach Lowe was going to be doing this. But Zach Lowe and Rob Mahoney did their league pass ranking in their podcast today. An hour after I texted you, they posted that episode, and I was like, oh shit, I wanted to do a little quick league pass draft, a mini draft here of league pass teams that we're excited to watch this upcoming year in the NBA. What are you laughing for?
I'm
Thinking about who you're gonna draft?
relishing
Do you want to
the
go first?
opportunity to do my, because I'm doing hold on, are we drafting for ourselves or are we drafting for like the
Yes.
community? Okay.
No, for yourself. Who do you want to watch?
Okay, so I'm taking the Dallas Mavericks number 1.
All right. Well, I would have not taken them, so you could have gotten them anywhere on the board.
I'm taking them right now. Dallas Mavericks number 1.
Why is that? Do you want to support Miriam Adelson?
No. I want to hold on. There's a way for me to turn this on you. I respect President Kennedy, and I want to honor where he fell in battle against woke, and the woke CIA deep state.
Yeah, this is a really good comeback.
Yeah, I got you. I got your ass. Cooper Flag. I'm going to be watching the 5th best team in the Western Conference, and I'm really excited to watch them every night.
Everyone's 12, including Sam. By the way, I don't know if you've seen my ongoing joke, but anytime someone brings up Cooper Flag, I keep going a little bit higher in the rank. I go, that's a top 8 player you're talking about. That's a top 7 player you're talking about.
There we go.
By the time the season comes around, Cooper Flag is going to be a top 2 player in the NBA.
You'll be correct. Him and Wemby.
Awesome.
The Battle of Texas.
No, yeah. I do think it's really cool that we're going to see, just an awesome, experiment there with a jumbo ball that Elton Brand started years ago and was incorrectly slandered for, as Will brought up earlier. 3 massive teams in Texas. 2, everything is bigger in Texas. 2, the Rockets and the Mavericks. I mean, they don't start anyone under the Rockets aren't starting anyone under 6'7". The Mavericks are starting. Are they starting D'Lo or no? Clay. No, Clay would be the shortest.
Yeah,
Clay at 6'5", I think, or 6'6", whatever he is. But yeah, the Spurs are small outside of Wemby, which is why I kind of retracted that a little bit. But I can't really even make fun of you for the Miriam Adelson thing because I'm drafting the Blazers next.
Let's go.
I've already talked about them, but to me, this was my reason. Fun young team. We'll see how they look this upcoming season. Can they take that next step? I definitely will be watching a lot of Blazers games. We'll have all of our eyes on Young Hansen this upcoming year. And especially before Scoot comes back, I want to see what the team looks like. And then how do they integrate Scoot when he comes back? A lot of make or break guys on that team for this upcoming season. And yeah, I'm just interested to see what they look like, to be honest. Like I want to know how they score the basketball. That's a thing that I wonder with a few teams. The Mavericks too. We'll see how they score, and we'll see how the Blazers end up scoring as well. And then my second one, I'm not going to go. I'll let you go next. But my second team was are they contenders tier.
You're like breaking it up. You're having like.
I'm just saying, I had 3 different tiers of like reasons why I'm taking these teams in the league pass draft.
Portland's a good one. That was another one that was high on my list. I will be selecting as my next pick the Washington Wizards. I will be seeded and feeded for another season of horrible, horrible Washington Wizards basketball. I will love every fucking second of it. I will love watching Trey Johnson go 2 for 28 one of these games. It's going to be fucking cinema. It's going to be incredible. I'm locked and loaded, man. This is what it's all about, by the way. This is what it's all about. I also, by the way, I did want to shout out Impulse gave us a power chat earlier.
Shout out to Impulse. One of our greatest supporters.
Yeah.
Sam with the Wizards is Trump with the Coca-Cola tweet.
Literally, I think I've literally made that joke on Twitter before.
I was going to say,
I really do love that garbage though. Like that you'll
still keep drinking these Bub Carrington mid-rangers and Alex Sarr. I actually immediately regretted saying that the Nets were going to be worse than them. I actually think that this team is going to be like historically bad. The more I think about it,
I think you didn't say the Wizards were worse though.
No, I had the Nets as worse, which I already regret. But I just want to. The reason why I say that this Wizards team is going to be historically bad think about, we talk about like the talent on other NBA teams.
Mhm.
Even the bad teams, the Jazz, the Nets, like the Suns, like they have good players. They have multiple good players on the team. The Wizards have their best player is Chris Middleton, who has maybe a half an ankle.
CJ.
And CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
And like, are both of those guys going to be on the team in January?
No. This is why this is fucking real fucking hoops. This is the real shit you tune in for, man. Like just squinting at the Keyshawn George minutes and being like, oh my god, he's developing, so he is going to be such a fucking problem in 2 years. Like that is what League Pass is built for right there.
I drafted him in my fantasy league last night.
Let's go.
He was my second to last pick. No, I was like, he's going to get steals and blocks, and he'll occasionally have random go-off scoring nights, and he's a decent passer for a wing. So he'll put up, even if they're empty numbers, he will put up numbers. And I drafted him with like my 14th pick, like second to last pick. All right, so in my Are They Contenders tier, I mulled over the Rockets, but I watched the Rockets a lot last year. I will watch them, but I'm taking the Magic for this one.
That's a good pick too.
I just want to see what it looks like with Jace Richardson, Desmond Bane, having normal guard play. I had a tweet the other day. I upset a lot of Grizzlies fans, by the way. I don't know if you saw this, but I tweeted and I said Desmond Bane got the last lifeboat out of Memphis.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect it to blow up. I just muted it. And then I went back after a while and I looked at it, and they were like, he went to the Magic. They're the most injured team in the NBA every single year. And I was like, I feel like it was just last year.
Yeah.
Like, other than Jonathan Isaac gets injured a lot, but like, he's like their ninth man.
Also, you can't be talking like that, white baby. Like, you are the most injured. They're the most injured team in the NBA. Like, Spider-Man.
The Pelicans of the Grizzlies.
Like
on a regular basis, it is the last 3 years have been the Pelicans, and then the Grizzlies second. And I was going to say the teams that like Franz and Paolo were kind of Iron Men before last year. Like, they didn't really get hurt all that much at all. Suggs did get hurt occasionally. Wendell Carter definitely had some injuries. They definitely have guys who are not always available, but they're not the most, like, I guess Suggs is hurt right now. They do have a few guys. Like, they're definitely not, they're not Iron Men by any means as a team.
Yeah, Jonathan Isaac single-handedly kind of drags the...
I was going to say, he definitely drags down their averages a lot, I would say. Because he, and like, that's literally just to keep the DeVos family happy, to know that they have a great Christian in the building like Jonathan Isaac to defend whatever horrible, fucking imperial project they're planning next.
Such a good fucking joke that it has to be Patreon. It has to be Patreon.
Write it down.
Yeah, it has to be Patreon. I'm sure people in the right headspace.
Hey, listen, if you guys want us to be able to say these jokes publicly, you gotta subscribe more. You
gotta get me out of my job. So they're not calling into my job after I make this joke, because they've been doing that a lot lately. So
they certainly will.
Yeah.
So you're up next.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Was that so? You're going with the Magic next?
Yeah, I have one more team after this.
Okay, I will pick a real team. Now, my good team that I'm interested in watching this year, that I'm actually going to be locked in when I can. The problem is they're a West Coast team, and I can't stay up late. I'm really interested to see the Warriors this year. I'm like fascinated to see the Warriors this year.
Yeah, they're going to be interesting. I had them on my list as well, but
they're the Unk squad. Like, you could tell me they won 60 games, and I wouldn't be like, oh, that's impossible. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you could also tell me they won 39 games, and I'd be like, man, well, that's what happens when you unk it up, like.
Yeah, no, I just need to know how many games any of these players are playing. How many games does Jimmy Butler play? How many games does Al Horford play? How many games does Draymond Green play?
We're on the last year of Jimmy not pissing people off. Like, everyone's still going to be loving Jimmy shit in Golden State this year.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
I don't think what they say, Jimmy didn't play 60 games since he tore his meniscus.
he is at the San Francisco parties. He's at the Palantir retreat. He's getting the copies of Atlas Shrugged that they're handing out as party favors. Like he's living his best life right now.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a great fit there. Okay, so here's his games played since he tore his meniscus. Okay, ready?
Okay.
65, 58, 52, 57, 64, 60, 55. And that's it. That was
No 6-7.
No 6-7.
Okay.
So he has it. The most he's played since he tore his meniscus is 64 games in 2022, 2023. So I think that it's safe to say he's going to miss at least 30 games. I think it's also safe to say that Al Horford will miss at least 20 games because they already announced he's not playing in back-to-backs. And they're only going to try to play him 20 minutes a game. It's just going to be amazing to see the way that they try to make this whole thing work, because they're super talented and they definitely have the ability to win a ton of games and they'll be a scary playoff team. But I don't know if you can trust the fact that they are basically, a retirement home. Did you see Draymond's comment about pods?
No, what did he say?
He was basically like, yeah, I think after Steph's done, like pods has next up. But then I was like, oh, you're setting him up like fucking Paulie and Goodfellas at this point.
I was gonna say that's fucked up. That's a fucked up thing to do to
I posted the Paulie and Goodfellas. I think it's Paulie who gets shot in that scene.
Oh, Tommy.
Sorry,
yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he's a made man. Yeah.
I literally was just saying I haven't seen that movie in like 8 years. I got to rewatch that. But the reason I say this is that he in that same quote, he apparently said, but then I say this, and then he shoots like 1 for 8 and everyone gets mad at him or something along. Basically, like, I'm setting these expectations way too high for pods, and that the fans were freaking out over him in the preseason because he had like 5 turnovers in one game the other night. And there was someone else in that game who also had like a terrible game. And the fans were all crashing out over. They're like, man, when the stars are out, this is just not the same team. And I'm like, that's literally every team in the NBA.
Yeah.
Pods is a role player. He will look bad when the other stars are out.
Yeah.
He will be decent when they play, and he will be probably terrible if he has to scale up. Like, that's just kind of the reality of who he is as a player. But Warriors fans, we're still learning in year 12 of them being good.
Wemby's good, but Luke Cornett has next up.
That's right.
Such a fucked up thing to say about literally the franchise legend and like a top 7 player all time to be like.
I was going to say, and the funny thing is that if he came in the middle of Steph's prime, they would love him. But because he came at this point where they only had now they at least have more good players. But the fact that he has been the sin eater for this team, we've joked about the fact that Pods is like the only young player in the NBA that's hated by his own fan base. We'll see if that continues this upcoming year. Speaking of my last pick, and I'm sorry to do this to Harrison, I think the Lakers are the nightmare. Like, if I'm going off of vibes, I think they're the nightmare team this year. Like, we always have one team that wins. So I said this. We have your annual, the 2019-2020 Sixers, the 2021-2022 Wolves. There's always one team that just wins based on their talent, but nothing really makes sense. Yeah. The Bucks, the first year with Dame, were another team like this, where it was just like, they're winning games, but like, if you watch, it doesn't look good, right? No. Yeah. Like, it doesn't, there's something off with this team. 2018-2019 Celtics is another good one. Yeah. But then it's just like, you're only winning because you have Luka and you have Austin Reeves and then LeBron when he comes back. But it just feels like, the Bucks fired their coach at 30-13 that year. Keep in mind.
That's very funny.
30-13.
That's a crazy
when
thing.
Not Darvin Ham, Adrian Griffin was fired. This is what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like the Lakers are that team this year. We're like, they're still going to make the playoffs. I have them as my 7th seed. But I just feel like everything that I've gotten vibes-wise from this team so far, there's just something off. whether it's adding DeAndre Ayton or trying to revive Marcus Smart's career or LeBron already being out and like telling Dave McMenamin that like he might want to get traded, they're my team for like very talented 45 win team that's like the 7 seed, but is a miserable experience to watch the entire year. They're yelling at each other. They hate each other. And I don't see this being like a good experience at all.
You could be correct.
you picked them as the 11th seed for anyone who doesn't subscribe to the Patreon.
However, I did also take their over.
You took their over and then argued with me that they were just as good as the Mavericks until LeBron got hurt, and then you said they're actually the 11th seed.
Yeah,
because we're just projecting what we want to see in the world.
Yeah. So look, there's a lot of consistency. Do you have any idea how hard it is to be someone who's consistent and knows the soul of things? I guess what I'm saying is I'm coming around to your side of things. And I think the other key part here is I don't think the Lakers are opposed to that, by the way. I don't think the Lakers are opposed to having a dysfunctional season.
I mean, clearly not, because they're willing to take on LeBron and ride this thing out and just try to get cap space a year or two from now.
They're treating him like the stapler guy in Office Space, where they're just like, yeah, just don't look at him like right now. Like,
he's got some weird thing with his legs, sciatica or something.
I don't know. He's saying he's going to come back for the playoffs. Just, he'll figure it out eventually. This swing line stapler, my swing line, 40-year-old body.
Come here, Bronny.
Come here, Bronny. I feel bad for getting that actor's name. He's a GOAT character actor. He was in Dodgeball. I forget his name. Anyway.
So the other thing I needed to ask you if you had heard about this.
Stephen Root, thank you. Sorry. Go ahead.
First off, sciatica is not just ass pain. I have sciatica. Do not joke about it. It's a very serious condition.
It's big on Trill right now. It's big on his mind.
After this past week, I'm like, you're braver than the troops if you've ever had sciatica.
Yeah.
The thing I was gonna say, did you hear about the Russell Westbrook LeBron story that came out today?
So I heard, I didn't look into it, but I heard it was very funny.
So Rob Pelinka, in classic Rob Pelinka fashion,
yep,
had a series where he would have like successful people come speak to them. Like Kendrick Lamar came and spoke to them.
No way.
Swear to fucking God.
Amazing.
So he had like all these really famous people that like would come through and give them like, motivational speeches and try to like basically during this nightmare season, by the way, I want to point out, this was during the season after they traded for Russell Westbrook when everything was a mess.
Imagine you lose to the Wolves by 30 on the road. You got to come home and listen to Ty Lopez talk to you about Ferraris for an hour, dude.
It was basically that. Like, yeah. And so he brings in these people. And so he brought in Will Smith a few months after the Chris Rock thing. After he slapped Chris Rock in the face. And so basically the story was LeBron, they were all waiting around to wait for Will Smith, and LeBron and AD were like basically getting impatient and they were going to leave. And so Russ was like, why the fuck are they able to leave? And then Patrick Beverley said, they won a championship. They can do whatever they want in this organization. Like, they don't care. Like, they have different rules than everyone else, basically, because of this. And Russ was like, this is insane. Like, Russ is also famous for this. Apparently, there was a story about a time that Uno was late to Rockets plane, and Harden just held up everyone, and Russ was apparently screaming to take off at the pilot because he didn't want to wait for Harden because he was like an hour late to the plane. And so he was basically upset over this, and LeBron came back in once Will Smith got there. And for the first 30 minutes of this like hour-long thing, LeBron was just quoting Will Smith movies at him and asking him questions and not letting anyone else get involved in the conversation at all. And that was Russ's final straw with LeBron, and was basically like, he's fake as shit. Fuck LeBron. I hate all this fake shit. He apparently also, Russ was aware of like the Godfather's my favorite movie. and the reading the Malcolm X book where he's only read the first page.
Yeah.
That Russ is apparently aware of all that stuff and was like calling LeBron like a fake and a phony.
Russ cooked, by the way, on that.
Russ is like, from everything we ever hear, is that Russ is largely on the right side of history.
Yes. Russ is like, it's
say what you will about his career, but like he off the court, like teammates love him. He doesn't put up with bullshit, and like
Russ's big crime was winning an MVP he probably shouldn't have won, and being like analytically like not good analytically, you know, like, or having a higher stature than his analytics would indicate. But everything else about Russ, like, I don't know.
Russell Westbrook is basically like, he is just he's a powerful force of energy that can't be contained, both on and off the court. And you live and you die with the let Russ be Russ, as the coach. Did you see that as well? Doug Christie saying that. He said, let Russ be Russ. And then they literally took the quote from Ty Lue saying that same thing 2 years ago. And then Mike Malone saying that same exact thing last year. We just need to let Russ be Russ. Let Russ be Russ, man.
Let Russ be Russ, yeah. The Kings
aren't doing anything anyway. Who cares?
Let Russ be Russ, yes.
I'm buying into the Bulls and the Kings. This is my last prediction I want to say before we get into the NBA season actually starting tomorrow. And we teased this during the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference preview, but I think the two teams that are going to be bad against their own will this year, that will be for the betterment of their own franchise, are the Bulls and the Kings. Like, I just feel like the Bulls are going to be pushing to try to make the play-in, but Kobe White's already out for the first 2 weeks of the season. I talked about the fact that like Vucevic shot way over his head. Buzelis is going to get a ton more on-ball reps. I think that will be good for him long-term. I don't know how good it's going to be for the team this year. And then the Kings are just a complete disaster already. By the way, Sabonis is out to start the season as well, which, like, I don't even know what their front court looks like. Like, Drew Eubanks is going to be starting games for them to start the year.
Can I do one more? Because I did have on my extended thing. I called this the live leak ISIS beheading video as part of the league pass rankings, and that's the Toronto Raptors. Force of habit. Sacramento Kings. Like, where it's just, you're just seeing gnarly gore and, you know, like
the Rotten.com ranking.
Yeah, when there's like a car crash and you see someone get like decapitated by like flying metal, like that's what any Sacramento Kings game is going to be this year. So
can't wait. I legitimately, it is going to be like watching a car crash in slow motion. It will be. I will be seated and feeded to watch the Bud Dwyer Sacramento Kings this upcoming year. Can't show this on television.
I'm guilty of this too. I feel like we can't have seated and feeded enter the vernacular. We can't give SH a foothold on this.
Did I say it?
You did just now.
I said it?
Yeah, the brainworm. We're all getting hit with the brainworm. He's got us, dude. He's got us. This sucks.
Zoomer brain is terminal.
Yeah, we've gotten terminal Zoomer brain from us.
Absolutely terminal. Oh, by the way, shout out the absolutely last thing here. Leonard from the Discord, who I believe he's a German Celtics fan who's in the Discord. I'll just let you sit with that one. So Leonard said in the in the Discord,
I'm coming up with something like, again, tune back in for the Patreon episode.
The reason I say he's a German Celtics fan, which is really important to preface here, is that I accused someone of having terminal green team brain in the Discord the other day.
Okay.
And I said, you have 5 months to live because you have terminal green team brain. And then he said green team brain is great because he's a big green teamer. He is like a huge Celtics homer.
Yeah.
And so I said this, and then he looked up what terminal means because English is not his first language. He said, "Oh, it means you're gonna die." Never mind. So what I'm trying to say is, we're breaking borders here, folks. We're going international. I think we have someone from Scotland, if I remember correctly. Someone from Scotland is coming to New Orleans.
Oh, let's go.
So we're really cooking with gas right now. I'm really excited for this season.
Yeah.
Because we're legit going global, folks.
I am going to be
globalist,
watching
ball.
I'm going to be watching so many basketball games this year, and so few of them are going to be Celtics games. It's going to be awesome.
Let's go. Christian from Sweden in the comments here.
A likely place for Christian Van Helsing to be from.
Perfect. All right, let's get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow night for the games. Basketball's back, baby. Now
rock and roll.
Now we have to go watch a game 7 of a baseball.